Caillou. You either really like him or hate him. Let me know in the comments below, are you guys Team Caillou or Team any other show, please? Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today I'm bringing you the Top 10 Scary Caillou Urban Legends. For those of you who haven't seen the show, Caillou is about a bald child named Caillou and the adventures he goes on daily. Starting off this countdown, we have the terminal cancer. Now this has to be the most famous Caillou urban legend of all time. It's the fact that Caillou suffers from terminal cancer. I mean, I certainly believed it as a kid. This theory began when people noticed that all his family members had full, luscious locks, but Caillou is completely bald. Therefore, they believe that Caillou has cancer and lost his hair due to the treatments. They also use this theory to explain Caillou's bratty behavior. His parents let him whine and complain because they are too upset to tell him no, since he doesn't have a lot of time left. People think that the creators made Caillou purposely bald so that kids that are going through cancer can relate to the character. But this is just the legend, and I have the real reason why he's bald. Turns out that in the original books of Caillou, he was super young, so he didn't have hair yet. Therefore, he was illustrated without having any. Then when they made the cartoon show, they made Caillou older and gave him hair, but then this made him unrecognizable. So they decided to keep him bald so that he still looked like the same character. They also think that this is a way to show that being different is okay. Moving on to number 9, we have the adopted sister. This next urban legend surrounds the idea that Caillou's little sister Rosie is actually adopted. The legend states that Caillou's parents ended up adopting Rosie because they were scared that if they had another kid, then they could also be born with terminal cancer. They couldn't bear the idea of losing 2 of their kids, so they decided to adopt instead. This is also used to explain why Rosie is seen with red hair, although no one in her family has red hair. It's because she's adopted and has a completely different genetic makeup. Or it could just be that the creators made her have red hair to match her name, Rosie. That's probably more likely the case. In our 8th spot, we have the lost episode. Of course, you were probably expecting a lost episode to be on this list. So, legend goes that one day a man's son was watching an episode of Caillou. That just doesn't exist. This man's son was 4 years old, and on the way to daycare one morning, they were talking about Caillou. That's when his son said, "I wish I could still watch Caillou." The dad asked why, and he said because he was too scared to watch it. Apparently, his son watched an episode where he claims the dad turned red partway through and just stopped speaking. He said that Caillou and the other characters were normal colored, but every time his dad appeared, he was red and not speaking. He also said that there was a scene where the dad was spitting drool into the toilet and then he was apparently not wearing any clothes. He also states that at one point his dad was just making weird noises. Okay, that's not comforting at all. Let's hope that's not a real episode. Moving on to number 7, we have Caillou's baldness. Of course, there isn't just one urban legend surrounding Caillou's baldness, there are several of them. This next urban legend states that Caillou actually has alopecia. Alopecia is a condition in which an individual may lose hair on some or all areas of their body. Basically, it's an autoimmune disease where the immune system mistakenly attacks your hair follicles, which leads to their destruction and they can't produce hair. So people think that this is the case for Caillou. Making our way down the list at number 6, we have the dark past. This urban legend states that Caillou is bald because the original artist of Caillou had a child with cancer. The artist decided that he would make Caillou bald as a tribute to his child who lost their hair from their cancer treatments. He wanted his child to feel more accepted and hoped that Caillou would make her feel like she wasn't alone. That's actually really sweet, but sadly it's just a legend and not true. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Caillou is dead. Legend goes that Caillou is dead. Everything we see in the show are just the lasting memories of him. In fact, the female narrator that we hear every episode is theorized to be the grandmother of Caillou. She is sharing the stories of him with other children in order to keep the memory of her grandson alive. To support this legend, the narrator has been quoted saying, "This story happened when Caillou was 3, making it seem like he indeed was real." Also, it highlights that it is a story, one that she witnessed and is retelling to others. Other people believe that the narrator is actually Caillou's sister Rosie. She's now all grown up and is sharing the stories of her brother to her young kids. But that just means that they didn't bother to filter out any of the details when sharing these stories, because they really emphasized how whiny and bratty he is. In our fourth spot, we have the banned episodes. Caillou is another one of those shows that has banned episodes. That's right, episodes, plural. There's not just one, but multiple supposed banned episodes. The first one is titled Rosie Bothers Caillou. In this episode, apparently Caillou badmouths his mom, shoves Rosie out of his room, and then hits Rosie on the head with a book. Turns out Caillou didn't actually hit his sister with the book as the legend claims. But it is a real episode where Caillou does talk back to his mom, and that does not surprise me. Another episode that was banned is one where apparently Caillou gets upset with Rosie and ends up shaving off her hair because he's jealous of it. If he can't have hair, then she can't have any hair either. Oh, I am staying far away from Caillou. But again, this didn't actually happen. However, 7 episodes of Caillou were indeed banned from PBS. In our third spot, we have the Caillou Syndrome. This is an urban legend that states that watching too much Caillou can cause kids to develop the Caillou Syndrome, which basically causes kids to be more defiant, demanding, and naughty. It is said that kids watching a lot of Caillou have been seen throwing themselves on the floor, kicking and screaming. In the show, Caillou is very, very, very whiny, and often has temper tantrums when he doesn't get his way. In one episode, Caillou throws a fit and yells, "Growing up is not so tough, except when I've had enough." It is said that young kids will then emulate his behavior, causing good kids to then behave poorly. In fact, one mother reported that this is true. She claims that after watching only one episode of Caillou, her 3-year-old daughter would start using phrases like, "I don't want to," and "No, not now." She was also becoming more disobedient. Another woman claims that her daughter picked up the line, "But I want it now," from him. In the show, Caillou is often seen to get away with this behavior. There's no pushbacks from his parents, making kids believe that they can act like this without any repercussions. In our second spot, we have the Coma. It's quite sad, but apparently there's a legend out there that Caillou is in a coma. Legend goes that Caillou was in an accident when he was 4 years old that left him in a coma. He has been in a coma for decades, but his parents refuse to give up on him. As a result, each day his mom visits him and tells him a story from his childhood. So the female narrator that we hear is actually Caillou's mom. We are then seeing the stories reenacted from Caillou's perspective. Furthermore, in all of the scenes, there's this white type haze around the screen, making it seem more like a memory or a dream. Also in the show, all the colors are bright. There's lots of bright greens, yellows, and reds. We hardly see any dark colors. Well, it's because it's how a young child would see the world. Again, he rarely gets in trouble in the episodes because it's how Caillou is imagining the world. In his eyes, it's a world where he just never gets in trouble. He's making up what he wants to see and hear. Lastly, in several episodes, Caillou's parents are seen with cashiers, but we never see money being exchanged. In one episode, Caillou goes to the museum and the cashier just hands them an entry ticket without them even paying. Well, as a 4-year-old, he may not have started learning about exchanging money for goods, so that's why we never see this in his visions. And in our number 1 spot, we have the nightmares. This is another supposed lost episode of Caillou. However, this one is slightly more disturbing. Legend goes that somewhere out there, there's an episode of Caillou called Caillou Goes on Magical Adventures. But this episode is anything but magical. In this episode, apparently you see Caillou going on a walk through the forest. And then behind one of the trees in the distance is none other than Slender Man himself. He was only seen for a couple of seconds before disappearing. That night, the Watcher apparently had nightmares where a possessed Caillou visited him. Caillou was standing at the end of his bed with blood dripping from his ears and eyes. The boy woke up from this dream and he had a bloody nose. So, it's said that whoever watches this episode will be visited by a scary, haunting looking Caillou. And that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our comment shout-out portion. I'll be shouting out more comments from my video, Top 10 Famous Urban Legends That Came to Life, Part 4. Ryan Ortega commented, "Something scary that happened to me is one time I went to bed with my phone and I put my phone on the bed, I went to the bathroom and my phone was gone. I went to the kitchen to grab a water, then I saw my phone on the couch. It was really weird, and it was really weird because I was home alone." Ooh, so you have a ghost that is playing tricks on you, that's what I think. Or maybe I just wanted to like scroll through Instagram and like some posts for you. Maybe it's a good ghost. Clay Tallman commented, the scariest thing is when I look through my notifications and no Lindsay videos. Well, do not worry, Clay. There are tons more videos of me in them coming for you. So just keep your notifications on and look out for them. Logan Lamanna commented, the number one scariest thing that happened to me was when the Wi-Fi went out for a full 2 days. How did you survive? Oh my God, I don't know how you did it. That is terrifying. Man. And that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you.